Last season we looked at what the future might hold for each Premier League club's out on loan star, and this year we're going to do the same. While my good man may have looked at who's flopped, today we're going to look at the ones who've performed out on loan. Arsenal, Reiss Nelson. The teenager joined the English Revolution in the Bundesliga this season, joining Hoffenheim on loan. And Nelson has scored some absolute stunners along the way, proving he has the talent to play in the top European league. Arsenal need to give him a chance next season, otherwise they'll seek a permanent move away from England just like Jadon Sancho did, and look at how that worked for him. Bournemouth, Tyrone Mings. The defender moved to Aston Villa in January, tasked with beefing up the defensive ranks after struggling to get a game at Dean Court. And Mings has done exactly that, playing an important role under Dean Smith as Villa went on a sensational run to reach the playoffs, although what he did to Nelson Oliveira wasn't cool. Mings' future may depend on how Villa do in the playoffs. Brighton, Christian Walton. We picked him out last season, and once again Christian Walton's had a good season out on loan. The goalkeeper returned to Wigan, this time acting as their number one in the Championship. The Latics achieved survival with him in between the sticks, but with Matt Ryan still the obvious number one at the Amex, Walton might be due yet another year out on loan. Burnley, Jimmy Dunn. The options here weren't great, so we've gone with defender Jimmy Dunn, who's had 2 loan spells this season. First it was in Scotland with Hearts, then with Sunderland in League One, where Dunn has been one of the standout performers in a poor Black Cats defence. It'll be another loan move for Dunn next season surely, maybe this time in the Championship if he's lucky. Cardiff City, Gary Medine. The striker isn't the most prolific, and after failing to score a Premier League goal for Cardiff, he joined Sheffield United on loan in January. Even there he hasn't been prolific, but his performance has certainly helped the Blades achieve a remarkable promotion. Surely though they'll think better than to sign him permanently, while Medine could once again be a good option for Cardiff in the Championship. Chelsea, Kurt Zouma. I'm spoiled for choice here really with all the players Chelsea have out on loan, but Kurt Zouma has had a great season at Goodison Park, and you'd back him to join Everton permanently if it wasn't for the transfer ban Chelsea have got coming up. Sarri might be reluctant to sell the Frenchman, and surely could find a place in his back four for Zouma. Crystal Palace, Nia Kirby. The Eagles don't have too many players out on loan, but we've gone with midfielder Nia Kirby as their star, having recently won the Player of the Month award at League One Blackpool. The fans seem to be happy with how he's played in Tangerine, and Kirby will surely get another chance out on loan as the teenager looks to adapt to the senior game. Everton, Henry Onyekuru. Once again the Nigerian forward has had to go out on loan due to work permit issues, and once again he's performed. Onyekuru has been in red hot form in front of goal for Galatasaray, and the Turkish club are reportedly interested in signing him permanently. If his work permit issues persist, it might be time for the Toffees to cash in. Fulham, Stefan Johansson. The Norwegian midfielder was key when Fulham went up, but his Premier League minutes have been limited, spending most of his days coming off the bench. With Fulham struggling, Johansson headed to West Brom in January on loan, where he's been excellent. The midfielder is such a classy player in the Championship, and Fulham might want to bring him back into the fold next season. Huddersfield Town, Colin Quaner. While Ipswich were relegated, Colin Quaner did help himself to a few goals while at Portman Road, including a winner against Leeds. The German is a weird player who can often be a handful, and Jan Sievert might want to give him another look in pre-season before making a decision on his future. Leicester City, Filip Benkovic. Many a centre-back has made their name at Celtic, just ask Virgil van Dijk, and that's exactly what Benkovic has done, with many fans wanting him to stay at Parkhead permanently. Brendan Rodgers brought him to Celtic on loan last summer, and will surely be interested in seeing what he can do in the Premier League with his new side Leicester. Liverpool, Marko Grujic. The first signing made by Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, Marko Grujic has had a great couple of seasons despite not getting a crack at Anfield. This season at Hertha Berlin, Grujic has performed brilliantly, receiving high praise from his manager. There is talk of Grujic leaving Liverpool permanently in the summer, with reports in Europe stating that Atletico Madrid are keen. Surely Klopp should see what he can do with the Reds first before letting him go completely. Manchester City, Douglas Luiz. I'll be honest lads, had a look through Man City's loanees and none of them have really shone. Douglas Luiz has spent the season on loan at Girona, who are on the brink of relegation, and the Brazilian midfielder could be moved on this summer as part of the deal to bring Bruno Fernandes to the Etihad. Let's just move on. Manchester United, Dean Henderson. As we mentioned earlier, Sheffield United will be a Premier League team next season, but they won't have their first choice goalkeeper as things stand. Dean Henderson has enjoyed a stellar year as the Blades' number one, and is probably ready for a crack at the Premier League, so Sheffield United will probably have a go at bringing him back to Bramall Lane. It's not like he's ready to replace David De Gea anyway, even if he can't stop making mistakes lately. Newcastle United, Dwight Gale. In a shock to absolutely no one, Dwight Gale has once again scored a ton of goals in the Championship. Gale has hit more than 20 goals for the Baggies, just like he did when Newcastle won the league a few years ago. It's been a great deal for both teams, and Gale has once again shown that he's a top-class Championship striker. Newcastle won't want to see him back though, as any deal to bring Salman Rondon back to St James's Park might have to include Dwight Gale going the other way again. Southampton Geordie Classy. The Dutch midfielder has had a pretty poor few years since joining Southampton, which has been a surprise as he looked like a great signing. This season he's been back at Feyenoord, performing well up until a bust-up with manager Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Reports from Holland state that Feyenoord won't pursue a permanent deal for Classy, unwilling to match his valuation, but maybe Ralph Hasenhüttl can be the man to get a tune out of him at St Mary's. Tottenham Cameron Carter-Vickers. The defender was out on loan in the Championship last season with Sheffield United and Ipswich, and this season he's done the same, looking pretty decent with Swansea City. The American international just seems like a player who doesn't have a future at Spurs though, and if Pochettino gets some money to spend to improve his squad, then surely Carter-Vickers will be on his way out once again. Watford Dodi Lukebakio. The Belgian winger was signed by Watford in January 2018, but didn't have much of an impact, making just one Hornets appearance, so when the summer came around he was moved on, going on loan to Fortuna Dusseldorf. And over in Germany, Lukebakio has been on fire at times, scoring a hat-trick against Bayern Munich of all teams. He's been linked with a big money move exit from Vicarage Road, which could end up being a mistake. West Ham Edmilson Fernandez. I never understood this deal when it happened. After looking okay in flashes last season, Fernandez was sent out on loan to Fiorentina, despite West Ham having so few midfield options. In Serie A, Fernandez has again looked good in patches, and will come back to West Ham in the summer with a point to prove, although Fiorentina do have an option to make the deal permanent. And finally Wolves Courtney House. It was slim pickings here, but we'll wrap things up with Courtney House, who's given his reputation a lift by joining Aston Villa on loan. Nuno clearly doesn't fancy the defender, not in that way anyway, so at least House has had the chance to show what he can do, and he could be back at Villa next season, with reports stating that a move is in the pipeline. So that's every Premier League club's out on loan star and what might happen next. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.